You know the Joey Gay story. Pull up Joey Gay if you can. He would murder.
Joey
Gay was so funny.
I know, and then he became like Pete Davidson's like phone holder or something.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
When Pete was first dating Ariana Grande, he invited me and Christine to come over to their place, and we went there. And me and Christine felt so out of whack, like old people walking around these like young kids. And then you went and then he goes, "Oh, come in the bedroom." I was hanging out in the bedroom, and there was a guy tattooing a bunch of their like 23-year-old friends or whatever, 22-year-old friends. Mm-hmm. And Ariana Grande is there, and I'm, starstruck enough. You know what I mean? Like, this is fucking wacky.
She's huge.
You know what I mean? Even Pete at this point is starting to have that fear where you're just kind of like, shit.
Yeah.
Well, Pete would probably be done calling me at this point.
Right.
And then just looking around that room, and you just see in a corner, just like 50-year-old something Joey Gay's like, hey.
Well, the guy kills, but he got White Boys in the Hood, and he was like, oh my God, he got it off some show he killed. So some guy comes up to him and he goes, "You're on, baby. 2 months, this date, coming to this theater at this time." And he was like, "I'm in." Calls everybody he knows, his mom, his friends. He shows up that day to do like makeup and hair, and they're like, "Oh, you're not on the list." And he's like, "I'm on the show." And they're like, You're not going on. We've never heard of you. No one mentioned you.
What check under Joey.
That was his theater name. But yeah, so he was like, "I'm on the show. The guy booked me, Greg or whatever." And they're like, "Oh, we talked to Greg on the headset. He doesn't know who you are." He's like, "He fucking booked me. What the hell?" So Joey's like, "Fuck this. I'm doing the show." And they're like, "You're not doing the show." So they kind of like get security to push him out of there. He sneaks to the back of the theater, pretends he's like a janitor, gets in the door, and he just goes into hair and makeup and just sits there like, "Oh, I'm third on the show." He kind of like avoids everybody, hides in a broom closet, and then he goes up to the host while some other comic's on. He's like, "I'm next. I'm Joey Gay." And the guy goes, "Oh, okay." And they bring him out, and he does it, and he kills.
Jesus.
Luckily, it was talent who would throw anyone out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
The first gathering of the Juggalos I ever did before there was crossover audience, so it's a little nice. I did it last year, and it was great because of the crossover audience, but no one knew we were at first. And it was a year that's the same year DeRosa told the story on his half-hour special about getting booed by them. Mm-hmm. The night I did it, they hated Lewis, right into hating Vecchione, right into hating me.
Damn.
How do you get booked on this type of gig?
Back then, I forget who it was. It's just like when they get involved, they go, "We want comedy." They go to a booker.
Right.
So that whoever that book, I forget, it was like a comic.
But DeRosa had already bombed this.
He may have done it the next night. It was like a few nights in a row. It was the first gathering of Juggalos where they had comedy, I think. Okay. But at least the first one I did.
That's a scary gig.
And it was a scary. Now it's like so pleasant.
Really?
Really?
Well, they're older.
They're older, one for sure, but they're also like, we just have a crazy crossover audience. So like, when we were walking around that, like we have to like have a cart to go around, or else you'll be like mobbed, like which is great.
That's cool.
It's great for the comedy show. They come and like they're quiet and they listen to the show midnight after they just watched. They're all covered in soda and shit, but they come enjoy it. But that first time they hated us, and notoriously that weekend, Joey Gay fucking murder. He plowed through, man. So it's like one of those. He started off in Staten Island shit rooms,
exactly,
and he never really graduated to like headlining clubs on the road. So it's like those guys are going to become scrappy and handle the situations better because you're like. How many times on the road? If I went now, if you were like, you have to do an hour to an audience that's against you, I'd be like, fuck, you could do it.
Of course.
You could do the time, but you're like, I don't know if I'll turn them around.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If like they're just coming in, they're going to hate me.
Sure.
It's like if, a very, I remember feeling that feeling at the time where I was kind of like, any show I do, I can like do fine.
Yeah.
At that point. And then I went to like, with Adrian Appalucci, we like co-headlined like a woman's college or something, and I was just like, from the first sentence, you're like,
I'm fucked.
You can't even rope them back in.
No,
like,
they don't want Adrian either.
They did not. No, they did not like yours. But I think she was a pleasant, like they were like, oh, thank God.
Right,
right. He's finally going to talk to her. And then I don't think they liked her stuff either.
Yeah. Well, same body.
Too dark.
But Joey Gay used to walk out. This is how good Joey Gay was. I opened for him in Looney Bin in Staten Island. Remember that room?
Yeah, of course.
Took the ferry out there. I met Pete Davidson. He was 14. It was crazy, but it was all mob run. So I went up and I ate shit, and then Joey Gay's like, Don't worry, I'll get him. And he walked on stage and he goes, Sweet Caroline. And the whole crowd went, bop, bop, bop. And he goes, and that's how you find white people in the woods. And that murdered. And then he was set for an hour.
That's a great opener. Dude, I remember watching him at CB's. I mean,
yes.
Think about the bombs we took at CB's. I mean, I had great nights there too.
Sure.
But I still remember Wayne Rader's abuse of us. Like, Mark and I in the back of the room just like whispering. And he'd be like, shut the fuck up. And we'd be like, ah. I'm like, by the way, that was louder than the whisper.
Right.
And we'd be like, ah. And then he'd be like, I'm so sorry, guys. I got my temper. Shots.
Yeah.
And we just start drinking. We're like, this is such a toxic environment.
Toxic. But we got the free meal, too. And that meal was amazing for a poor
The chicken Milanese is lovely, yeah.
Oh, the whole thing. Yeah, their tuna tartare was fantastic.